Hey everyone, welcome to the best U.S. Mint news channel on YouTube. I'm Son of a Silver Stacker, Triple S or Stacker, whichever you prefer. Today's date is the 18th of April, 2025. In this video, we have three different topics we're going to be tackling. Number one, the bullion sales at the United States Mint. Then we're going to be talking about the dollar because we do talk about the periphery of the hobby every now and then. And then we're going to be talking about the American Quarter Proof set that drops this coming Tuesday. But before that, if you're new here, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you like. We're trying to reach a bazillion subs. It's a really big number. I looked it up. It's ginormous. Also, we're always live. That's right. We're always live. Remember that. Never edited and always unscripted. Try that at home. Now, next step. Yes, indeed, this is Money Metals, and the market is closed. But what's interesting is Dr. Copper's down a penny, but it's on its way to $5 a pound, I imagine. So gold ended the week. That's right, ended the week at 33.4175. It's closed for Good Friday in Europe and the United States. Silver ended the week at 32.75, platinum at 987.15, and palladium at 992.25. That's almost parity, right? Then check this out. You're looking at it in stock, American Silver Eagle, whose premium is $6.89 for a quantity 1 through 39. You'll pay $39.64. I mean, same old song and dance for months, right? And what's interesting about the 2025 American Silver Eagle, I'm going to show you the bullion sales here in a minute. They're fairly low, and they don't compare to the pandemic era. It's actually pre-pandemic era numbers that we're looking at. Now, they will buy them back for $33.95, and look at that, $33.95 is $1.20 over, so you're good to go there. Looks like they want them back. Now, the bullion sales, here we go. Sales totals by month are updated every weekday by 5 p.m. That's just words. It's really, because that's, words are for, well, how people pretend to be, and then their action really says what they are, right? So here we go. The United States Mint sold 1,130,000 American Silver Eagles for the month of April so far. That's incredible because, well, in the month of March and February, we had sub 1 million for each one of those. And then obviously January, which is pretty typical for these numbers, you have 3.5 million. So look at this. We're at 6.5 million for the year 2025. And if we go ahead and count how many months are left here, and we say, well, maybe there's 1 million for each month, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more months. And could we see additional sales for April? Absolutely. But let's just go ahead and add 8 million, because 8 months, right? And it might be 7, right? So we could be at 13.5. We could be at 14.5 million American Silver Eagles sold for 2025. But that's only if the Mint ramps up their numbers, because if we still see numbers like this, well, we're not going to see huge sales for 2025. And like I said, if the Mint doesn't produce anything for December, we're going to be looking at 13.5 million, maybe just 14 flat. Yeah, well, where does that compare? Well, let's see here. It's the bullion sales for the 2024 American Eagles. And this is ounces of silver sold, which is the same as the ounces of Silver Eagles. Look at that, 24.8 million for the year of 2024. Let's go. We're still in the pandemic era, 2021 right there. And we're going to look at the 1 ounce silver coin sold, bottom right here, 28.2 million. Yeah, it's a grip load, isn't it? It's quite a number. But here we go. Pre-pandemic in 2019, all right. We have 1 ounce silver ounce coins right here. Bingo. 1 ounce silver coins, 14.8 million. Yeah. So I think we're going to see numbers, if we extrapolate, the numbers that we're seeing now for 2025 into the end of the year. Well, I think we're going to sit at about maybe 13.5 to 14.5 million. But that means, if it does go higher, that the Mint is going to have to go gonzo, or at least maybe, 1.5 million to 2 million per month. And is that even possible? Because it sure seems like these numbers are governed, like there's a cap on them. Now, let's go to the Google machine. I want to show you something. I got here, liquidity crisis. And what's a liquidity crisis? Well, it's a financial situation, and it is a major situation, and it's characterized by lack of cash or easily convertible to cash assets. Oh, yeah, on hand across many businesses or financial institutions simultaneously. And it could actually happen to you personally, right? You might not have, like, let's say you have a home, and the housing market isn't, and you got some equity built into the home, but yeah, there's no demand. And if you want to sell your home, you have to get aggressive, right? You may want to lower your price. You may want to increase the percentage that you offer the other realtor. That way you get a lot of, well, let's just be real. Realtors like to make money, and if you give an extra percent or two, you'll probably get a lot of people walking in the door. So this is when things get creative in the financial community to generate business. So it's basically a financial situation characterized by a lack of cash or easily convertible to cash assets, right? That's huge, folks. That's a really big deal. And I think that's what we're going to be going into, because check this out. This has already been happening. I put here dollar shortage, fuel pumps run dry in Mozambique, capital as dollar deficit bites 2 days ago. Bolivia turns to crypto for energy imports amid dollar fuel shortages. Let's see here. That was May 2024. Swap lines curb global dollar shortages. Yeah, it's been happening for quite some time. Dollar shortages threaten bread and fuel lines in Mozambique. Bolivia, SSI. Let's go ahead and see. Persistent dollar shortage 1 week ago pushes Naira further down parallel market. Rwanda hit by dollar shortage as franc weakens. Bolivia. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, folks. Let me see if I can hit. Is it back? Nope. How a dollar crisis would unfold. I don't think that's it. I think this is the next one we're going to check out. So what happens basically is, in my opinion, what happens is you get all these people here, and especially who want cash. Well, the cash actually becomes a commodity. Yeah, isn't that wild? Have you ever heard cash as being a commodity? Especially if it's a fiat currency with no intrinsic value, right? The paper it's printed on. Well, what's worth more, right? Let's see, a nickel or a dollar bill, right? One's paper, one's copper and nickel. Which one has more intrinsic value, right? So cash becomes a commodity when it's traded for its intrinsic value, similar to other goods and services, and not just a medium of exchange. This can happen in situations where liquidity is scarce and the ability to obtain cash becomes a valuable asset. And I think that's what's going to happen soon, folks. Look, I'm not a financial analyst, or I'm looking at the writing on the wall, and this isn't financial advice, but I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing, and that's all I'm seeing. And then I put here weak dollar crisis, and this is really I think the crux of everything here. Expert warn, weakening dollar signals crisis of confidence. So if you have a weakened dollar and there's hardly any dollars in the system, I think those dollars are going to get really pricey, even if a weakening dollar happens. Next up for markets, a crisis of confidence in the dollar. This is incredible. The U.S. dollar is weakening. That's 4 days ago. The damage is done. The tariffs put the dollar's safe haven status in jeopardy. And look, they already know how this is all going to play out. Let me see if I can hit forward on this one. Yeah, look at this. This is The Economist. How a dollar crisis would unfold. That was 2 days ago. Yeah, look at this. Blue Bay sells U.S. dollars short, citing low investor confidence. What's going to happen to all those people if there's a liquidity crisis and the dollar is highly sought after, right? That's going to not be pretty, I think. Now, let's keep on keeping on. That's kind of a cool picture. That's the scream, right? And we're going to keep on keeping on. This is it. This is the fun stuff. The other stuff is just kind of I don't really like talking about it, but I think that it is important that I share what I see. Maybe you see it too. I don't know. Anyway, this is it. This is April 22nd. Today's April 18th. So a few days from now on Tuesday, you got the American Women Quarters Silver Proof set. And what's interesting about this, well, the United States Mint cut the product limit to 34,980, making it the lowest of all the American Women Quarter Silver Proof sets. Now, obviously, there are American Women Quarters in the silver proof sets. And if you add those two together, right here are the numbers. You got 34,980 plus 184,000. I'm sorry, my bad. 185,002. You've got here 219,982 sets of the American Women Quarters in silver proof format, right? That's pretty amazing. But wouldn't it be cool for fractional ASEs for 2026? Yes, please. And I really love fractional silver at the United States Mint. And what's interesting, well, let me go ahead and I'll show you in a second what you can look. I'll come back to this. This is super exciting. Now, here we have eBay 2025S, San Francisco, right? This might be the last year of San Francisco anything, right? We don't know. Silver proof set, American Women Quarters. I have it here listed, completed listings, sold listings, and ended recently. So $69.95, that's the American Women Quarters silver proof deep cam set with COA pre-sale, ships $423. So how much is this product? Yeah, $95, and people are buying them up for less than $95 because it looks like somebody has taken those mint sets, the 2025 at $185,002, and broken them up, right? And now we have another sale, $129.95. Look at this, $84. You're going to see better ones than that, folks. It's kind of incredible. $69, that's a buy it now. Look at that. Bada bing, bada boom. It's not the American Women Quarter proof set, but you are getting those American Women Quarters, and it's $51 at 16 bids. That's not bad. Here you go. The same set for more than double. Yeah, what's up with that? $124.95, February 23rd, March 27, $118. $62. That's the silver proof set. No box COA. No, silver proof set. Why is it blue though? Typically silver's in the black holders and not in the blue. Must be a photograph thing. $114.99. Look at this. Silver proof set. No box. No COA. Mint price $95. It can be yours today for the low, low price of $79.95. But you can get it less, right? Look at that. $53.51. Buy it now. And so on and so forth. So there it is, folks. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now let me go back to the quarter set here. Household order limit is going to be 5. This product is going to be available April 22nd, 2025 at noon. I may not go live on the internet for a live stream for this drop, but I may. It may sell out. If we look here on the legend for April 22nd, it says coming soon, but it also says limited. So could it sell out? Could it become on back order that day? Absolutely. Like I said in my other videos, I think the United States Mint has unwillingly snapped out of it by lowering the mintages. Now, obviously, it has to be sought after, to be worth something, and in addition to having a low mintage, right? So a couple of these factors are important to consider when buying this. But, look, if you're into low mintages for the American Women Quarter program, I would say this probably qualifies. Now, here we go with the description. And really, I think I've been doing a disservice to this particular coins lately. I haven't been talking about the mint artists or the description, so it's my bad. Typically, I'm like, oh, yeah, they can read it. No, that's not really fair, so let me go ahead and read that. This is the description for the American Women Quarters silver proof set. Includes 5 3/9 fine % silver quarters from the American Women Quarters program. All right, honoring Ida Wells, investigative journalist. There aren't too many of those left anymore, I would think. Suffragist, educator, and civil rights leader. Founder of the Girl Scouts, that's Juliet Gordon Low. That's the low quarter. It's the lowest minted out of all the American Women Quarters so far. And it's really cool. Actually, there's a new error where it looks like she has a Girl Scout cookie on the top of her hat. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It looks like she's got a cookie, Girl Scout cookie on the top of her hat. It's like a dye chip on the top of her hat. Some people are calling it maybe a tassel or something, but it looks like a cookie, really. Now, Vera Rubin, my favorite quarter of the year, astronomer who pioneered work on galaxy rotation, uncovering crucial evidence on dark matter. And if you know your Bible, it does say, look to the heavens. Stacey Park Milburn, visionary, disability justice activist. And I think all of us are eventually going to end up in one of these, if not a wheelchair, when we get older. So definitely thank her, you're right, for giving us, obviously her activism. That's huge. There it is. But that's my favorite right there. And if you have seen this in the proof set, it is gorgeous. I would love to see these in a reverse proof set. Could you imagine? All right, Althea Gibson, you've got her, multi-sport athlete and first black athlete to break the color barrier at the highest level in tennis and professional golf. Now, these are all struck at the United States Mint in San Francisco, and it is definitely a firm maybe, it's a definite possibility of a firm maybe, that the San Francisco Mint could actually be, retired, not necessarily deleted, but maybe sold for its value. I don't know what's going on, but mum's the word. But I do believe that everything should be done out in the open and in the sunlight. That way we know what's going on. Maybe we can have some input, but it doesn't seem like we have any input what's going on. Now, it's accompanied by a certificate of authenticity. That's nice. Now, it says here, the American Women Quarters silver proof set features all 5 American Women Quarters. They're packaged in a protective lens. All right, this set is the final annual release in the 4-year series that celebrates the accomplishments and the contributions made by women who have shaped our nation's history and helped pave the way for future generations. And actually, to keep it real, there's one more American Women Quarter, not necessarily part of this set, but I do believe the Coin Act requires that the first coin for 2026 is going to be honoring an American woman. That's right. So it kind of trickles into 2026, and that's okay. Each coin in the series features a common obverse heads design depicting a portrait of George Washington. And now remember, in 2022, They had the witchy poo error, that was the warts on the nose, and they also had the drooling George or the herpes, and then they changed the relief for 2023. So you didn't really find those as much and in the quantities as you did for 2022. And I got to say, 2022 really is, to me, the year for the American women quarters. In fact, let me go back here. I got to show you this. You won't even believe what those are selling for. Now, I already showed you the ones for 2025, and it's $120. Wow, right? Yeah, 110, 115. So here we go. 2022, you can buy both of them for $66.75, $48, $49. That's silver, right? For less than $50. That's less than $10 a coin. Come on. What's up with that? Look at that, $88. The one now is $99. 124. Look at the, come on. What? I just got chicken skin. Come on. Those are silver, right? Yeah. I mean, somebody scored, right? Look at that. $30 for 5 fractional silver pieces from the United States Mint. How do you look at that? Do you look at it as fractional silver, or do you look at it as American women quarters, or do you look at it as both, right? So that's kind of a big deal. All right, the American women quarters, reverse tails, design, honor. Wait, I didn't finish this one. The design was originally composed and sculpted by Laura Gardner Fraser as a candidate entry for the 1932 quarter, and that was only going to be a 1-year deal, right? It was a commemorative, which honored the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. The inscriptions are "Liberty and God We Trust" and 2025. And it definitely goes into more of the American women quarters designs here. Regrettably, it doesn't give us the artist's name, and I don't know why that is. And I think that's just as important. And yeah, that's just what they've chosen, right? So this is the final year of the American women quarters collection series, and you get 5 quarters at 0.199, right? So you got 0.199. You're going to multiply that by 5 quarters. It's not even 1 troy ounce. And I am glad they actually put troy here of an ounce, because I think in 2023, they actually just put ounce. And yeah, that kind of made things a little bit more confusing than they should be. Now, +1 time. Oh yeah, you might also like the American Women Quarters proof set. No, I'm kidding. I'm just having fun. All right, here we go. This is the Psalm 37:1. This is by David. He's the conductor, right? Do not compete with evildoers. I'm not going to do this in some kind of Shakespearean language, right? Do not compete with evildoers. Be not envious of the doers of injustice, for like grass they will be cut down swiftly, and like green vegetation they will wither. And I think what that means, if I'm going to wrap my head around it and try and explain it to myself, because, look, a lot of this is like old English, right? And they don't even make this anymore. They don't talk like that. Who talks like this, right? Maybe somebody who writes movies. Anyway, I think what that means is don't be lured by the external trappings of prosperity of the wicked, for it is the Lord's blessed ones who will inherit the earth when heaven descends upon it. And that's exactly what's going to go down. Heaven will come to earth. That's right. Someday, soon, I would hope. Now, what's really interesting about this, well, I didn't want to get too much into it, but yeah, can you think of times where evildoers and people who are envious of doers of injustice? Well, hey, I want to be like them, right? Maybe you shouldn't. Think twice. You ever have a friend that said, I don't know, man? Yeah, right there. Now, let's bounce over here to 3 Nines Fine, 99.9 KOIN Coin News Radio. This is your average white band. Pick up the pieces from 1975. You know this song. You do. I promise you that. And if you don't, well, you will. Now, with that said, I want to thank you all for coming. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you're going to see, please sub the channel. It's absolutely free. What's not free is the membership. It's $1.99 a month. It's really, well, it's the price of a cheap cup of coffee once a month, right? Once a month. And if you go to other places, you spend $5, $6, $7 on a coffee. Well, heck, that's a whole lot cheaper than a cheap cup of coffee, right? Or an expensive cup of coffee, rather. Also, check out the store. Some really good quality stuff in there. And I think that's it. I think I may go live tomorrow morning, actually. Saturday morning. That's going to be kind of fun. Going to talk about the 8th Era video game. And, for those people that are playing the 8th Era video game, don't get frustrated. I think no news is good news. And remember, the people who are, owners of the 8th Era video game, the Nice Gang folks, Mark Salzberg and Wasserman and all that stuff, they could easily obtain more Soaring Eagle Privy Mark American Silver Eagles in 2025, add those labels to them with the Golden Griffin or whatever on there, and you're good to go, right? And also, I do really like those Mint State 69 8th Air labels as well for 2025. Stacker out.